It's a grand old place. It's always fair to see.
No, I want to hear you sing it. Okay. I'll fill in later when I edit this thing. This is one of my favorite songs, Louis.
Death, where is thy sting? Listen to this truth. Jesus says it. It's all here. I'm paraphrasing, but it's all right here. 15th chapter, Corinthians. Jesus says, follow me and I'm going to show you. Don't be afraid. Follow me. I will show you the truth because there is no death. Not where I go. You ask, well, if we don't die, what happens to us? What happens to our bodies? How do we get raised back to life? So Jesus says, listen to the truth. We are like seeds planted into the ground. A seed enters the ground. The outside breaks and disintegrates. And then the new plant is born and grows and grows and becomes a whole being again. And we are just like those plants. So are the animals, the birds, and the fish. It's all the same way, just like leaves on a tree. It's different, but it's the same. And in heaven, it is the same. Chapter 15. There are heavenly bodies. There are earthly bodies. Each has a different kind of beauty. Just as the sun has its own beauty, and the moon has a beauty, the stars, they have a different kind of beauty. And we too. Although we wear the likeness of men and women on earth, that's a kind of beauty, we also wear the likeness of men and women in heaven. And this is the truth. We do not die. When the trumpet sounds, we are changed in an instant. So death, where is thy sting? So listen, children. Let's get into the Lord. Oh, do all the preaching in all the ways you can. And don't be afraid of the water. Come on now, children. I'm going in the water. Oh, yes. I'm in the water, children. I'm in the water, and there ain't no trouble in the water.
If you hear telling me that.
Now, if you hear about me dying, I don't want nobody to cry. All I'm asking you to do for me is say, hallelujah, happy as can be, 'cause she's in the water. Ooh, I'm in the I need some water. There ain't no, can I sing that? In the water. Now in my dying hour, I don't want you to be mourning. All that's given you to do is sing a happy song. Going in the water. So happy, 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 get in the water, children. I'm in the water, and there ain't no troubles in the water. Woo! Now when I get to glory, I'm gonna shake on Daddy's hand. I'm gonna tell Daddy about all the troubles I found down here on this land. I'm in the water. Happy, happy, water children. In the water.
This is priceless. That's great. Just priceless.
In the water. It's really nice. It's clean. In the water. I'm in the water. Got no troubles in the
Love it, love it, love it.
So God says, listen to me. Listen. I can stop all wars all over this world for every nation. If you listen to me, you will see what amazing things we can do together. Psalm 46. He says, stop fighting and you will see God. Oh, I believe. Why not believe if you're so good? Oh, I believe. I believe. I believe. Thank you, everybody. God bless you forever and ever and ever.
And what was really very beautiful is that we had for each other. She will be missed. That will never forget her.
Oh, yeah. 2 minutes.
Hung out with these two probably, what, for 10 years?
Yeah.
Karaoke and never forget Jeannette with Georgia. Georgia. Sorry, Cindy. But she was a sweetheart. Everybody loved her and we will dearly miss her. And I'm glad that she didn't suffer. I really am.
Thank you, Gail.
Was not the cause of her death. She always dressed up. Her outfits were coordinated, not matching. She always wore a hat. She looked lovely in blue, and she loved butterflies. She usually wore red lipstick. In fact, I often found traces of that lipstick on top of Luna's head or on her ear. Luna loved to sit on her lap. Jeannette would whisper to her, telling her she was a good dog, she was a pretty girl, and probably other stuff I'll never know anything about. These two had an instant bond. Still, when we go to LCS, Luna wants to head to the smoking area to look for her buddy. We enjoyed going out to lunch. It was always my challenge to find a restaurant that fit Jeanette's requirements. Must serve BLT, bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwiches. She loved her bacon. That was another thing that bonded her and Luna. She loved it preferably with fries, and the restaurant must serve dessert.
That's right.
Occasionally she compromised, she just didn't look very happy about it. Sometimes she would take half of the sandwich home. She always ate the entire dessert. I loved it when she told me stories of her past. She'd get this faraway look in her face, and I knew she was reliving the story as she told it. She loved to tell stories about Susie and Cindy, Stephen and Joe, and their accomplishments. That would bring the proudest smile to her face. Today I've been hearing her voice in my head. I had a really difficult time deciding what I was going to wear, until I pulled out this red dress and I just saw her smile. And Jeannette, today I'm wearing a smile you gave me. Be at peace, my friend.
Yes, please, anybody.
You know,
Yeah, me too.
many of you may not know this, but she was an encourager in our writers group. And she was a faithful member for many years of the local writers group. And when I first came here, I had written poetry all my life, but only on vacation. And this was the first time I could just have fun and write poetry anytime I wanted to. And every time I read, she would come up to me after the meeting and give me a hug and tell me how much she appreciated my poems. And I don't know whether they were, how good they were then or how bad they were, but her encouragement and her love meant a great deal to me. And I think all of us writers here have nothing but good memories about this wonderful woman who gave part of her life to us twice a month and encouraged us as we wrote and as we lived together, and always had a smile and always something good to say about what we were doing. So I give thanks for your mother.
Thank you.
She was very, very special.
Thank you.
With her up in El Salvador's. And we spoke a while, and then she said, "Thank you so much for stopping and speaking with me." And it reminds us of how when we age, how easily we become invisible. And people really don't like to be around really old people. And Jeannette was so vibrant. And I loved what I read in the obit, but she was a movie star for a while.
She was.
I mean, she kept doing different things, and it was so wonderful to know that there's so much life left in all of us.
Yeah.
So thank you for having a wonderful mother.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I want to say about Jeannette, the last time I saw her, which was not so long ago, she was dancing. This is the Cherokee butterfly legend. Many, many years ago, when the earth was still quite new, there was a beautiful butterfly who lost her mate in battle. To show her grief, she took off her beautiful wings and wrapped herself in a drab cocoon. In her sadness, she could not eat, and she could not sleep, and her relatives kept coming to her lodge to see if she was okay. Of course she wasn't, but she didn't want to be a burden on her people. So she packed up her wings and her medicine bundle and took off on a long journey. She wandered about for many days and months, until finally she had gone all around the world. To this day, butterflies go on long journeys, but that is another story. On her journey, she kept her eyes downcast and stepped on each stone she came to as she crossed fields and creeks and streams. Finally, one day, as she was looking down, she happened to notice the stone beneath her feet, and it was so beautiful that it healed her sorrow. She then cast aside her cocoon shook the dust from her wings, and donned them once more. She was so happy, she began to dance to give thanks for another chance to begin her life anew. Then she went home and told the people about her long journey and how it had healed her. To this day, the people dance this dance as an expression of renewal and to give thanks for new seasons, new life, and new beginnings.
Read far too many of my own poems to gatherings. Cindy sent me this poem, which was Jeanette's favorite poem, which happened to be a Shakespearean sonnet. And it's not my forte, but I'm going to read it anyway. And it's about friendship in the midst of the difficulties of life. All of us who knew Jeanette well knew she loved two things: dogs and people with kind hearts. And so if you fit into one category or the other, Jeanette was all for you. If you didn't fit into one of the two categories, to hell with you. And so if you had a kind heart or you were a dog, and a lot of you have had this experience around Jeanette, haven't you? Yes. I know how she was with my dog, and even the week before she passed away, she said, "How is Chispa doing?"
Wow.
It amazed me. And that's a little Cocker Spaniel. She did make some exceptions. There were a few irascible, irredeemable reprobates like Alex, who managed to slip through the electric fence into her folds. I probably should include myself in that category. But at any rate, this is Shakespeare's sonnet 49, a famous sonnet about friendship ultimately, and about our lives not being exactly the way we would have them. It begins, when in disgrace with fortune, and lots of us have been in disgrace with fortune. In disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I, all alone, beweep my outcast state. And I trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, feature like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least, yet in these thoughts myself almost despising. Yet, while I have these thoughts I despise, yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee. And then my state, like to the lark at break of day, arising from sullen earth. Haply I think upon thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day, arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered, such wealth brings that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Jeanette's favorite poem. So.
No, that's a Shakespearean sonnet.